Welcome back to part 2 of Myron's big interview with Mike Parrow. We're going to pick up right back in the middle of the conversation where we left off last week. They were mid-conversation, and Mike Parrow was making comments about whether being openly gay did affect their careers here in pro wrestling.
And I do think it does hurt us. It does. So me and Effie have been very vocal on this point, and I do think it does hurt us. It does. But in 2019, only one major company has two, if you count NXT, LGBTQ wrestlers.
I'm thinking, Sonya Deville.
Think about that. In 2019.
Is out.
Sonya Deville.
And who's in NXT?
The British wrestler, she's Morgan. I think it's Morgan something. I'm not. Okay. I just know she's had 1 or 2 matches.
Well, I think it's probably easier. I mean, I don't understand everything, but I think it would probably be easier for a lesbian woman to get over in wrestling than it would a gay man.
Well, no, that's just because the straight people are booking that, and they're like, oh, people love lesbians. That's exactly what that is. Uh-huh. And me and Effie are very, very vocal about it. It's not because they get over because they're lesbians. As long as that's a great concept. Mm-hmm. But the token is why can't all of us have jobs? Yeah. Example, people got mad at Effie the other day, and I actually agreed with Effie. And I don't always agree with him because we have different concepts of what's right and what's wrong. And we all do. We have opinions, and that's why we're human. But Effie brought up a huge point. The dream is gay baiting. The Velveteen Dream is gay baiting. And until WWE, says something, he's not going to support that character. And people are like, how can you not? Wrestling, blah, 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 could be anything he wants. And I'm like, you don't understand. Everything he's doing is what Effie does.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Effie's character. He's literally playing Effie. So, whether you say those words or not, we have the problem is, especially as of what happened to the actor, Smollett up in Chicago, he was attacked for being gay. Mm-hmm. We need, as gay athletes, we need more people out of the closet. We need more people being authentic. My character in wrestling, I don't do anything gay.
No.
Me and Otis and kill people. That's my job.
Yeah.
I'm the badass gay dude. Effie does more raunchy comedian stuff. Mm-hmm. That's Effie. Sonny Kiss, he's the diva. He's more feminine, and that's his style. Jake Atlas is the athlete, the athletic one. He's the cheerleader. You have Jack Sexsmith over in London. Mm-hmm. He is the pompous little British kid. So we all are different, and wrestling needs to start. Wrestling has a huge LGBTQ fan base that feels forgotten. And that was the one thing I learned about coming out, especially WrestleMania weekend when I had tons of people coming up and hugging me and crying. Yeah. It's a pretty humbling experience. Mm-hmm. I would tear up, and I'm like, it's my allergies, I swear. But, people like me and Morgan would be walking down the street in New Orleans and people running up and hugging, going into a bar and having Kevin Owens being like, that was awesome, man. That was much needed. We're still at a time in pro wrestling where we need representation. Yeah. We need LGBT storylines on TV. We have none of them.
Well, every time they've done them badly, in my opinion. Because
they don't ask. Once again, they have straight people writing gay stories. Because
you're right.
And this is where you run into the issue. You don't ask us. And you're not using LGBT story people. You're not using actual gay people. So that's where you're running into the problem in the first place. Listen, I'm not saying nobody should ever be hired because they're gay, straight, black, white, green, yellow. But wrestling doesn't work because you're hired on that. Rarely are you hired because of your talent or your merit. That's not how wrestling works. Wrestling is the people that are in charge feel as though the people that they are hiring are going to make their show, they're going to fit their show's vision and make them the most money for the show.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is the people in charge right now are actively not hiring LGBT athletes. There is tons of us. They're just not hiring them.
Oh, it's something I have learned from following the wrestling business and hanging out. I don't go backstage, but I'm always hanging around the guys after the shows. There's a ton of gay wrestlers.
Yeah.
Nobody just knows about it. And there's a ton of, I did not understand just how many
when
there
I
were.
came out, I talked to Odinson before I did it because we had just started being a tag team. And I said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. And I have to, it's because we talked about it and because everybody knew prior to this, I had come out to the boys. The boys did know, but the fans didn't know.
Yeah.
The fans did not know that I was gay. And I said, I want to get ahead of this before anything. I don't want this to ever be an issue in our tag team. I don't want it to be an issue in anything. And I want to be authentically me and I want to stop fearing this. There is consequences for me saying this. And I know it's going to hinder us in a lot of our bookings. Not because they don't like gay people. And that's the thing. It's like, I want to stress that I don't think people are homophobic. I just think they're afraid to take the chance, the first ones to take the chance.
Well, they're afraid other people are homophobic.
Yes and no. I think to get over homophobia, you actually have to show that we're not different. And we can't get over homophobia until we start showing that we're not different. And, hiding us isn't going to help your situation whatsoever. The fact that Finn had to fight just to have a rainbow flag walk out with him, we still have an issue in wrestling. The fact that that people were against it at first. Instead of being like, yeah, that's good. I'm like, I will always be grateful for NWA letting me walk out with the pride flag.
That was a really good moment. I really thought the way Jim Cornette put you over shows that there is progress in wrestling and progress that people are willing to make it.
It was important to me because it was a Southern crowd.
Yes.
And it was, NWA is synonymous with Southern wrestling. Mm-hmm. It's synonymous with wrestling. It is wrestling's history. And, my agent for, my match was, Sean Davari.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, sir, is it all right if I do this? And he looked at me, he goes, yeah. Why wouldn't it be all right? I was like, you think Billy and them would get mad? He goes, no. He goes, if you want to do it, we don't want to take something away from you that's your personality. We want you to be your personality. And Jeff Jarrett I cleared it with Jeff Jarrett too. And Jeff's like, yeah, go ahead. And just for having them to say, just go ahead is a big deal. I was like, hey, it's not going to be like, and I said, I'm like, it's not going to play a part in the match. I personally want to just walk out with it.
Yeah.
And it's just for a personal statement for me and my community that gay can be badass.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, especially in wrestling, is we have, and it isn't wrestling's fault. It's TV's fault because gay on TV has always been portrayed as weak or not as masculine or very feminine, so like I've been told by multiple top promoters and story writers, we need to make you more talking about me, need to make you more sympathetic because you're gay. Whoa. Nobody has ever had, I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. Nobody's ever had sympathy for me. My parents don't. I'm like I don't have a sympathetic look to me.
That's not your
because
character.
we've built into our society that gay is weaker. We have. And we need to start showing with wrestlers because pro wrestling has always been a catalyst for social change.
Yes.
They've always been able to, do things before the public has been able to catch on. They're very good at influencing pop culture.
Yes.
And, and making stereotypes go away. Mm-hmm. Think about this. The biggest star in the world right now is The Rock.
Yeah.
The Rock.
Indeed.
He's half Samoan and half black.
Yep.
You would never think about that when wrestling first started.
No, not at all.
And that's because they're able to influence social change. And I think if we take steps for companies in this next year, to hire LGBT wrestlers and give them opportunities, I think that's a deal. We're ready for it. Ready for
exactly what you're saying.
I don't have any fans that are.
Yeah.
What?
No, I get what you're saying because
I'm sorry.
I grew up in Alabama, okay, in the 80s. Mm-hmm. I never knew gay people. I mean, I knew gay people, but I didn't know they were gay or whatever it was. My current girlfriend, I've been with her like 7 years. She had tons of gay friends. So I began spending time around gay people for the first time in my life. And it took me a while to realize they play video games like I do. Some of them go fishing. They like sports. They're no different than me. But until you're around them and you deal with these people, you look at what other people tell you about them. It's like becoming friends with a new nationality. Like if I were to get a friend with some Vietnamese people, I only know what I thought about Vietnamese. I don't know Vietnamese people. I've been around them and know what they do. And I think if people get more exposed to gay people in bigger places, like you said, social change will take effect. And it's wonderful.
And wrestling has the platform to do it. It's just, I feel as, all the people that are in WWE are hacked, MLW. All these companies aren't pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
Why? One, they probably maybe don't see money in it.
Yeah.
That could, which is a false narrative, because RuPaul's Drag Race is a dollar industry.
Oh yeah.
So, let's put it this way: the whole season of this Punisher, the season of, and Netflix did a whole season of Punisher, an LGBT storyline.
Oh, I haven't got to see it yet. I'm dying to watch it. I'm not
going to ruin it for you. But it's an LGBT storyline.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, it's the whole plot, and you're going to be like, wow, this is well done, and it doesn't come off homophobic. It doesn't make anybody look feminine or weak or like. It's just telling a really good story, and wrestling needs to get out of the dark ages and start doing really good stuff. Like, I said a comment the other day, and Lance Storm kind of fired back. And he's like, well, stories are to build conflicts, and it would come off as homophobic. I was like, really? Because your era had Triple H date rape Stephanie McMahon into marrying him.
Yeah. You're
no, that was my
right.
response. I'm like,
you're 100% right.
But he drugged her.
Yeah.
That was the whole concept of the marriage.
Yeah.
I was like, now it like that's what you played on TV. And I was like, and I said, there's so many ways to do LGBT storylines that are not homophobic.
I think they should look at the DC Universe Online, the Arrowverse, because they do a wonderful job.
Yeah. Like, they have gay superheroes.
Yes.
We have, like I said, when I came out, I intend to be the person I needed when I was a young athlete.
Uh-huh.
And right now we don't have a wrestler that young gay fans can look up to. And us as an industry acting like they don't exist is not only cruel, it's wrong.
I agree with you 100% on that. Now,
it's like pretending we don't exist, and that's hurtful. It's hurtful, especially because you have to be able to. The show is for everyone, and then when you don't have something for everyone, can you really claim that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I get exactly what you're saying. Now with the Finn Balor thing,
Mm-hmm.
what are they doing? I don't get what they're doing with that. Like it'll like they use it and then they don't, and it's you see it every once in a while.
Well, first, I never really know what they're doing with Finn Balor because it's always like, is he a demon? Is he Finn?
Is he weird
abs?
that way? Yes.
So, but I will say I do know Finn personally, and I know it is a very passion for him because he does have what I just said. He full-heartedly believes that needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And he's an ally and he's in a position of power that he's able to do that.
Well, that's terrific then.
And you know, that's why he did it. He spoke to me before he did it. And I told him it needs to be done. I said, this is a brilliant idea. I said, allies can do way more than me, Effie, Sonny, Jay, all of us, Fred, or Darren Young can do, because it shows that you aren't going to be gay if you have gay friends. You're gay if you're gay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't catch gay. Like,
no.
Like, I was born this way.
Well, it's not like y'all are out recruiting like the Army.
Yeah, exactly. You know? I'm like, we're doing a terrible job of it if we are. And it's, if Finn, people are like, oh, look, why is he just, like somebody said the other day, like, why doesn't he just come out? I go, why, what is that supposed to mean? That was from a gay person. And it's like, because gay people are getting frustrated right now. Gay fans are especially frustrated. And I understand because they don't have anything. You keep giving us, they think Finn is a crumb. You're just giving them crumbs to make them happy. Mm-hmm. And I told Finn that, you know, that these are the sort of things that are going to happen. You know, you're going to get to look at an everyday life for us. I get hate mail daily.
Wow.
They're saying that I'm ruining wrestling and I'm going to burn in hell. You know, the common, you know, fun things in my DMs. You know, but for every negative, I have a positive. And I told him, I'm like, for all the negatives, the good you're doing outweighs the negative. Mm-hmm. I said, because I like to tell everybody. First, Finn's rainbow shirt is on tons of straight people.
Yeah.
It's on tons of straight people actively supporting us. Second, Finn coming out at WrestleMania, that 5 to 10 to 12-year-old that saw Finn do that. Mm-hmm. Two things can happen in the future. One, his favorite wrestler says is okay with gay people or LGBTQ. And so when he has a friend or a coworker or somebody who's around, he is more amped to be like, hey, what's up, bro? You know, and be totally cool with it and not be a jerk. Or when he's struggling with his or her sexuality, they know they have support in one of their favorite wrestlers. That's the positive that came out of that.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense to me.
And every time he wears that rainbow, it peaks up the conversation. And he has to keep doing it. Why? Because there is no LGBT representation. So he's the only one carrying the flag right now. And he's taking all the arrows for us because right now we can't get in the door. We can't get in any doors. Mm-hmm. All the doors are shut right now. We're at the window knocking creepily. Like, that's how we feel right now as LGBT athletes. We feel shut out. And I of course, going to get in trouble for saying that. But, you know, that's how this business works. But sometimes you need to speak up. You know, what I'm saying is not wrong. No. You know, I would understand if I was saying something wrong, but I'm saying something completely right. Right now, it's so hard for us to get opportunities. You know, and I get more than others because my character is more, you know, it isn't a gay character. You know, I'm a gay human being, and, you know, and I speak about that in public. But me and Odinson, just our character, we're going to kill you. That's our goal. Yeah. Like, but we need more of those. For every Effie, we need one of me. For every Jake, we need one of me. We you know, you need the spectrum. You can't just have the stereotype.
Well, it's people in the world gay people don't do things differently than anyone else in the world.
And that's exactly, but we aren't showing them to younger fans. We aren't showing them, like, you know, I always thought, why couldn't Darren Young had a boyfriend? Why? You couldn't give the guy a boyfriend on TV? You give him Bob Backlund?
That's as far opposite as you could go.
Exactly. It was like you're purposely working against this man. You're purposely trying to make him a joke. And I had an issue with that. You know, are you still punishing this guy because he came out and said things that you didn't? Or because they made a statement that the Darren Young character is not LGBT. What? What? Why would you make that statement?
Well, there was no need to make that statement because I honestly believe the wrestling bubble is so different that your average fan would have no idea he was gay. The people that watch the TV don't dissect the wrestling business like the people on Twitter do.
Yeah, and how it was done, I don't agree with, but you know, like, you know, but for everybody, it's different. You know, it was hard for me to give that interview, you know, and if it wasn't for, you know, the help of Martin Stone, I don't know if I would have done the interview because when I was asked, I asked Myron, I said, do you think I should do this? And he looked at me and we both knew that there's large consequences to me saying that, that this could hinder my career. Drastically hinder my career. And he said, but you said yourself in the car, you had nobody to look up to when you were young. How do you feel about that? And I said, it sucked. He goes, well, be the person they needed. You know, you have this opportunity. You have this platform. He's like, you're not going to quit wrestling. You're not going to go away. He's like, and you're not going to be gay. And he goes, especially in this day and age, they're going to find out anyways, Mike.
Yeah.
He's like, so either you can do it now or do it later, but eventually you're going to have to do it. And it was a real tough talk, you know. But he was right. He was right, you know, and he usually is. But, you know, it was a long conversation to have. And, I did the interview. It was funny. Is like, I actually, like you said, is like, I didn't think the interview was going to be a big deal. I really didn't. I honestly was like, this will be like over in like 15 minutes. Like, oh, he's going to be a wrestler.
Well, man, you know, that thing took off.
I had just started at Evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just started at Evolve. You know, nobody really knew who we were outside of Florida and the southern states, you know. And I just started at MLW, so I was like, I don't think anybody's really going to know who I am. Well, it wasn't just wrestling. It went viral and had 2 million reshares within 24 hours.
Oh, yeah, because like, when I get to hear, when I see a news story in wrestling, it usually is one place maybe, but that went to almost every single new wrestling news source. It got outside of the wrestling bubble where people,
and I was like, cause I didn't even, so the funny thing was I didn't even know cause I was home and it was home for Christmas time and it came out last year. It's been a year now and it came out December 27th. And I remember the date exactly because I gave the interview back in October of that year. And they actually, the people that wrote it actually kind of like, were like, they even thought it wasn't going to be that big of a deal because I didn't bury straight people. I more or less like said, I just told the truth and I told the reality and it was crazy because I'm getting all these texts and phone calls and all these things. And I had told, Court Bauer and Gabe, Sapolsky that, hey, I did this article. And then the article came out and then they're like, you are everywhere. And I was like, yeah. I did, Good Morning, Britain. that was crazy being interviewed about it. And it's like this lowly independent wrestler is traveling all over the place talking about something that I had never in my life planned to talk about. I had something that I hid so long that I was like, I get uncomfortable talking about. Everybody wanted to talk about. I'm like, great.
Well, that's got to be difficult at first.
It was, because now I'm in a situation where my biggest fear is now out. It's literally something that I thought like I almost killed myself over. This is now everybody's talking about it. And, and my main thing was my personal thing in wrestling, I never want to be hired because I'm gay. I want to be hired because I'm good.
Yeah.
That's why this year alone, I've worked for ROH, FIP, Evolve, MLW, All Japan, Progress. I'm literally trying to build a resume so nobody can ever say that this guy didn't deserve to be here. And because that's always been important to me personally and also NWA, those things have been important to me as a wrestler, just as a wrestler in general, not as a gay man, as a wrestler. I want to do everything in wrestling. Me and Odinson, literally, when we started tagging, we said, we want to work for every historic tag company there is. I want to own the NWA belts.
Oh,
I
man.
do. I personally do.
I
want
totally
the All Japan belts.
Wow.
I want them. Like I want to earn them. I want a title shot. Those are things that I want, because those are important to me. Those are important business things for me. I think, I want to bring those NWA titles back to Japan. I want to be the first to do it. I'm not going to stray away from saying that. I want to do that. Other people have different goals, but that's mine this year. Is I want to bring I want to win those NWA belts, and I want to bring them back to Japan.
That's incredible.
And I want to be the first openly gay champion of a major company.
What's the thing is, you're not a gay wrestler. You're a wrestler that's gay.
Yeah, and that's what I try to tell people. I'm openly gay. That's my thing. I'm an openly gay athlete. I'm performing my craft as an athlete, but I'm not hiding who I am.
But you're not a gimmick, though.
Exactly. I don't want to, but that's the other thing about everybody that's wrestling. Effie's not a gimmick. That is Effie times 1,000. Sonny Kiss isn't a gimmick. That's him times 1,000. This is me times 1,000. I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah.
This is my personality. So we get into this thing that that's a gay gimmick. No, it's not a gay gimmick. That's who they are. We never say that about straight people. We only say that about LGBT wrestlers. Oh, they're doing a gay gimmick. No, that's who their personality is. I go, if you're saying doing a gay gimmick, that's the Velveteen Dream. That's Dalton Castle. They're doing gay gimmicks. They're not gay people. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so when you say they're doing a gay character or a gay homage to a part of the gay world, but that is playing a gimmick. Effie's not playing a gimmick. Effie's doing him, and that's why it's authentic. That's why it comes off as real. That's why he's good at what he does. And that's the best thing about wrestling is the best characters are an extension of themselves. They're a part of them. Being able to do something like I did comedy for the first 6 years of my career, and that was an extension of me. I like to be funny. I like comedy wrestling. I think it's great. I think comedy wrestling is the hardest thing to do in pro wrestling because you constantly have to be innovative. You constantly have to change your act, and you always have to be funny. You can't be that's so difficult to do, especially on a show when you're about the only comedy thing. So your job is to make people laugh. So mostly you're on the show and you're the only one doing the comedy. So it's even harder. So, my hats are always off to people that are doing comedy, like the Joey Ryans and the Effies and anybody that just does it. it's just so hard. And, you know, we have a range of the characters. Getting back to what you said, you know, we're all, the best characters are the extensions of personalities. And this is just the extension of my personality. I'm an open athlete and I compete in my craft. And this is who I'm comfortable being. I couldn't play a feminine character because I'm not feminine. It's not who I am. I can't even do a feminine voice. I was like, I'm really bad at it. And, you know, but that's who I am. And there's nothing wrong with the ones that do. And we need to get to the point in wrestling to let these things exist. And right now, I honestly feel, you know, we need more representation.
Oh yeah.
That's a personal thing. And I just, you know, I could be wrong. Maybe the wrestling world, the wrestling fan base isn't ready. I don't think that's the case. I think wrestling fans are totally ready. I think Effie's living proof. They're ready to embrace it. Hell, the Velveteen Dream's ready. The proof that fans are willing to embrace it.
Oh,
he's their most over character.
Yeah.
And you know, these are the realities where we're at right now. It's like, why aren't people pulling the trigger? And those are questions that in 2019 need to be talked about. And that's why these podcasts are important, is because now it gives wrestlers the opportunity to speak on issues that they were always told to stay quiet about.
Exactly. It's an open platform.
And it's a platform. And it's a platform not to be negative. It's a platform to be positive.
Yes.
And all I'm saying is, you know, when you give newer people opportunities to shine, there's a great possibility for growth of the business.
Yes.
You know, like we started off the show, is our job as wrestlers just to grow the business. This is a fan base that we need to start connecting with, and it's only going to make the business stronger. It's not going to make the business weaker. Yes, is there going to be people that fight back about it? Of course there is. There's always, no matter what you do, there's always people that are going to fight back about it.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it works. I'm like, but I think the majority is more for it than the minority.
I think America as a whole is becoming more tolerant. It's just taking time, and sometimes they don't want to admit it.
Exactly. It's like, well, hate's easy.
Yeah.
Hate's easy. Acceptance isn't. And, because we like a norm and a base. So it's like, as long as we're feeling comfortable, nothing that makes us feel uncomfortable, we don't like it, you know, but we don't get comfortable with something if we don't have the chance to acclimate to it. And right now, as a wrestling fan base, we haven't had the opportunity to start acclimating ourselves with different stories.
Yeah.
We're like you said earlier on in the program, that, you know, it's just attitude era stuff rehashed. Well, there's so many innovative guys out there with so many cool stories. This is a social media age. There's so much more you can do. Like, I thought something that was absolutely brilliant that WWE did, and it could have been a mistake, when Sam Roberts said Bianca Del Rio shouldn't be there.
Yes, that went viral.
I said that was great. And everybody's like, what? Then you get fans thinking they know what they're talking about. And I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I go, every sport in America has an analyst. I'm like, right now, everybody in America is talking, do the Rams deserve to be in the Super Bowl? Right?
Concept. It's the same concept.
Is that going to ruin the Super Bowl? No. And everybody's like, then people were saying, well, it wasn't, I didn't care what she said about her, but they said it wasn't a takeover match worthy. And I was like, listen, WWE could change the name to Takeover to Cheeseburgers and Fries, and you're still going to watch it.
Yep.
Let's be honest. I go 3 years ago, Takeover didn't exist. Yep. I go, it runs 4 times a year now. It used to only run once a year. I go, I totally agree. I think I've been saying this forever. Analysts should analyze, and they should disagree, because great athletes use criticism as fuel to prove people wrong. So why can't wrestlers?
Oh wow!
Why you don't always have to be on the analyst and being like, well, they're really good and they deserve to be here. It's been putting in the work in the performance center. I was like, cool, DDP yoga 3 times a week. I got it. Teaching kickboxing, pulling a plane. I got all that, but does that translate to her in-ring work? Mm-hmm. And he felt it didn't. And I feel it's a way of rebranding her, giving her more than just her ponytail.
Well, it's made people pay more attention to her.
Exactly.
Because they're going to look to see if she deserves to be there.
And I said that was brilliant. And everybody looked at me. I was like, I think wrestling needs more of that. I think that was a great thing. You can blur the lines. They're like with Dean Ambrose, they're literally just rehashing the CM Punk storyline.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
That's literally this, even down to the Triple H promo.
Wow.
Instead of ice cream bars was, do you need to ask your dad? So, we need to get more, all I'm saying is we need to get more outside the box thinking storylines. And it starts with simple stuff what Sam did. More organic.
I get what you're saying. It's yes, I get exactly what you're saying, and I could not agree more.
Yeah, I just say, instead of overthinking something, like with the Tajiri thing, simplistic is also good.
Well, you don't react emotionally to things that are overthought.
Exactly. It's like people reacted emotionally to somebody criticizing because you're so used to the commentating teams putting all the athletes over. And so not every athlete's the same. Not. It's the reality. I know there's people in the ring that are physically better than me. I know that. I'm going to be my damnedest to try to be at their level, but I do know that exists. Can we pretend that not every athlete is 50-50? And we need to stop this concept in wrestling of the 50-50 wrestler. They're just not the same. I didn't look at Finn Balor going into a match with Brock Lesnar and think, damn, those guys are evenly matched.
You're 100% right.
But for some reason, the independents and other wrestling organizations have this concept is like, and I don't know if it's because some of the people that are up at top aren't large men. So their style is we have to give guys our size equal strength levels as a larger man, or we need to book it as all your move, no matter what size you are, all your moves are the same. And it's just, I think that hurts the business. I think that hurts the fan. I think that hurts the fan's viewing experience. And I think that is just, you're insulting intelligence at that point. Because it's like, you look at Brock Lesnar and you look at Finn Balor, and Finn did a very good job saying, I believe I can beat him. I believe I can beat him. Because he was telling you, I'm not as big as this dude is. He's going to whoop my ass. You know who does really good at promos doing that? Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
People underestimate Zach's great promos because let's be honest right now. Daniel Bryan is literally just playing Zack Sabre Jr. from New Japan. He's literally just playing the vegan, he's just playing, Zach's been doing it for a year because that's who Zach really is. Uh-huh. Zach is a vegan, animal rights, don't drive this kind of car. That's who Zach is. And, his promos are so good. He cut a promo of saying, he's like, yeah, he could kill me. That's why I'm going to make him tap out in a second. Uh-huh. That way he doesn't get to touch me.
That's a very good
right
point.
there.
Yeah.
So simple. Puts over the other guy saying, this dude's going to murder me, but I'm not going to let him because I'm going to make him tap out in a second. Now puts over the fact that he can make him tap and tells tells the fan that this dude is huge.
Yeah.
What?
He respects the other guy. He shows that the other guy can beat him. He puts the other guy over, but he still is going to beat. Yeah.
And I was like, that is how you do it. And then you got all these other guys down the Indies thinking burying their opponent is like a good idea. Like, I'm just like a smart ass. And I'm like, that makes no sense, bro. I was like, literally, that makes no sense. I think that's another issue we have in wrestling is people learn like this, we need to get rid of the nonchalant character. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just here. Sorry about swearing.
Oh, no.
I don't care what I look like. You know, I'm just punk, man. Yeah. So many of that character, right?
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't respect me for being here. Whatever. I'm just the best wrestler. Oh, okay, bro.
Yeah.
Got it. I'm like, cool jean jacket with pins. I'm like, cool hoodie. You're wearing black. I got it. You're sad. Somebody hurt you. Who hurt you when you were young? Like, need a hug. Yeah. Like, I got that character. We need to stop doing that character. Like, there's so many of that character. It's just like, that blows my mind. The fact that I say it and you already knew what I was talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's super common, especially in the indies lately.
Yeah. And it's just like, give me something. The independents are your time to grow as a performer. This is your time to grow. Try new things. Be different. Think outside learn, you know. You're not going to get hired or fired because of that.
Yeah.
Like, but the phenomenon, like, of independent wrestling is everybody always wants to be a badass no matter their size. Their need to be a badass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then the actual badasses aren't really play badasses. Like, Matt Riddle is a legitimate badass. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't play a legitimate badass. Like Matt Riddle could kill you. Like, and it's just like, Matt Riddle's character is like, what's up, bro?
Yeah.
He's RVD.
Yes.
Of our era. Just so much charisma. Matt is going to be a megastar.
That's what I feel too. I feel that too.
Charisma alone. He's just going to be a megastar. Like, he you know, and I'm not saying that because he's one of, like, my good friends in wrestling. I'm just saying the moment I met him, I'm like, this guy's a star. Like, he's a star.
I've got to see him live a couple times.
And the first time I met him I was wrestling him at Evolve. My first ever Evolve match, I was in a main event, for the WWE title. Uh-huh. And I remember Matt giving me advice after the match, and I said, he goes, I couldn't figure out why you haven't broken out yet. And I got it. And I was like, what? He goes, you don't believe you should be in the ring with us. And I was like, oh, you guys are like really good. He goes, bro, you're awesome. He's like, pro professional wrestling is so simple, bro. He's like, just have confidence and believe in yourself. I was like, wow. He goes, man, pick what you're good at, do what you're good at, and then just wrestle, bro. This is that conversation. And I was like, well, that seems a little simplistic. He goes, no, it's exactly how wrestling is. Believe in yourself, have confidence, and pick what you're good at. He's like, don't do things you don't do. I was like, and he was completely, utterly right. And from that day, a lot of my success was, I believe in myself. Uh-huh. I believe I should be there. And I believe I can do it. So Matt is very good at giving a pep talk in his own sort of way.
He just comes funny, off but so cool. You know, even the fans.
He's like, yeah, just it's confidence, man. Just believe you need to be there. He's like, and then you're there. I was like, yeah, that's kind of how it works, man. He's like, yeah, bro. He's like, and just pick things you're good at. Don't do things you're not good at. That's simple. I was like, he's like, I'm not doing things I don't know how to do. I was like, it's true. He's not wrong. He goes, Thatcher, bro, look at Thatcher. He just stares at you. He's like, it's so creepy, right? I was like, yeah, it's pretty intense. He's like, yeah. And he just gives you a sleeper. And then it's awesome because of him staring at you. That's what he does good. I was like, you're right. It's like, it's funny. It's like you don't see things until somebody else points it out. And sometimes you need that. And that, Matt Riddle's secret to wrestling is pretty much the secret to wrestling is have confidence, believe you're supposed to be there, and only do things that you know how to do.
Wow.
It's funny, but it seems so simple, but it's not wrong.
Well, that's a good point. You do the rest of your life like that and be successful.
Yeah. It's just do things what you're good at. Believe you should be there and have confidence in what you do. Mm-hmm. And I take that every day and I use it as like, I believe in what I say. I try to be the most authentic person when I do interviews. I don't like to do interviews as a per se character. I think that's stupid. The reason I think that's stupid is because we live in a new era of wrestling. Cody Rhodes had spoke about this. This isn't not 1984, 1987 where you could go home and be your real person. That we don't get to turn that on and off so much anymore. This is an era where you have to do interviews. You have to speak to people. You don't see, and here's the thing. Ultimate Fighters aren't walking down the street just punching people in the face. What do we expect pro wrestlers, personas to be running down the street doing the same thing? I'm like, people aren't dumb. I go, be authentic, talk in person, and talk about the business because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Going on interviews and being in your character is stupid because you just look dumb. Because we obviously The Rock never did interviews outside the wrestling business as The Rock. He did it as Dwayne Johnson. Why? Because he wanted to go farther than wrestling. And if you start doing, you have to remember, not everybody's a fan of wrestling. And that's why I always tell people about Twitter. When you're on Twitter, be very careful because you're not always going to be a pro wrestler. And it's going to be very hard to explain some of your tweets.
Yeah.
I was in character during that time. Yeah, that doesn't really go over when your boss is like, yeah, I still can't hire you because that was really racist or that was super homophobic, bro. Yeah. I can't hire you. I can't explain to the board, the shareholders that, he was just in the character.
Well, you've done a really good job with social media. That's one thing I have got to give you credit for. Your social media is positive. It's entertaining. It's almost like people can feel they know you from it.
And I learned that from actually Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and watching how, I will say one of their things, they're really proactive and they're extremely intuitive when it comes to trends in wrestling. Yes. I think that's one of their things why they're so successful. And I watched it and it's because they're real on social media. They're not trying to be like, I'm the richest man in the world or some stupid like that. They share photos of their family. They share photos of their dog. They're like, I love my wife. My wife is a sweet person. When you're more authentic, people tend to get behind you than when you're not authentic.
Yeah.
And I try to be the most positive person because that's who I am. I'm not one of those people. I don't want to see people fail. I don't. I like it when all my friends succeed. I believe there's room for all of us at the top.
Yes.
That's my belief system. And, I'm not, I think locker rooms are better when they're a family because a family and a team are better off. Your show becomes a success. And I think independence, when locker rooms companies like, I think, Evolve and all them will do very well with family-oriented locker rooms because you tend to want to be there and be part of the team when it's a family-oriented thing and send positive vibes out. When there's negative vibes and anywhere, it doesn't help anybody. And so that's why on Twitter and all that there's no reason to put negative out there. Like, I'm just not a negative person. Negative doesn't really get you anywhere. No. It really doesn't. Like, nobody likes a person with a negative attitude to start with. And nobody likes it when you bury other people. They just don't. I do like it when other people, when wrestlers go out there and are just bitching or burying other people. That my personal opinion, I don't, but
it only appeals to negative people.
Yeah, it's like now granted, I'm not always positive. Like, I will point out the facts. Like I said to you, in 2019, we don't have LGBTQ. That's a personal issue with me, but I don't mind I'm not going to also hide that either. So, it's not negative per se, but it's not always like the sun is shining so green.
Yeah, well, it's a personal thing that you take very much offense to, and if you did not say that, I think people would not believe you.
Yeah, and it's like I also say if I don't support my own community at some point, how are they going to support me?
Yes,
and I'm just speaking up on an issue that we feel forgotten. Now I want to see everybody always asks like, well, what if this person gets a job and you don't? I'm like, that's what I want. I want everybody to get a job. I go, there's plenty of jobs out there right now. It's just right now, like, everybody's holding their breath. Like I said earlier on the show, it's not just with LGBTQ people. It's with everybody. People don't, the problem is, I think one of the major issues, and we spoke about this earlier on the show, is every company has the people that are kind of in charge. It always feels like they don't want to upset WWE because they always want to have the opportunity to come home.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I get exactly what you're saying.
So they don't want to ever make WWE too mad, so they don't do things to make them upset because they always want they always want to call daddy and say, okay, it didn't work out, or if it doesn't work out, they always want to fall. They want to parachute. Nobody's just leaping. Everybody forgets Vince leaped.
Yeah.
Like there was no parachute for him. He was the only guy, and he purposely went and bought all the companies, so there was no parachute, and he took risks. The problem is none of these other companies that are starting off are taking risks. They're not because they're doing, everybody follows their formula. So if you're following the formula, how are you going to beat that guy? They already did it. I just never understood that concept. Like, Impact was always like, but I always said about Impact, I'm like, but you're following their formula. Mm-hmm. You're never going to beat them. I remember when they try to go up against them on Monday nights, I go, you're literally giving you're asking people to watch the same program.
It's totally true.
You're not doing anything that that WWE's not doing. So why do I want to watch a different program? You have to give me something different. And I would just like to see in 2019 is these companies to step away from and be okay to upset WWE and take that opportunity to be like, there's a chance I'm never going home again. Mm-hmm. This is my company. And that's what I hope from AEW is that the fact that they're like, especially since the Young Bucks and them have never really wanted to go there. So, I'm hoping with them is they're able to be like, yeah, I'm never going home. I don't care. This is my company. And I think once a company does that, they're going to become very special. Mm-hmm. I think right now, all the companies still follow the WWE format of how to put a show together. Because it's the Pat Patterson model. Mm-hmm. And ironically, a gay man is the father of modern pro wrestling.
Yeah.
That's the model that every show in America follows. Every show in America is basically the same if you look at how a show is put together.
Yeah,
basically WWE created a whole farm system for the past 20 years without spending a dime.
That's brilliant.
It is brilliant. Vince was brilliant. Because he created a farm system where he can just pick from when he's ready to pick it. Yeah. Because everybody follows his formula. Everybody follows, this is what works, we're going to follow it. Nobody steps outside the box and says, we're going, WCW lost when they started playing Vince's game.
Yeah.
And we talked about that with the Super Bowl. Is like, why Belichick's so smart. He makes them play their game. And that's what Vince has always done, is he's made them play his game. So Vince never gets upset because you're playing his game. He knows that you want to come home. You really want to come home. And Vince has not been wrong yet. They all come home, do they not?
No.
Look at everybody that was just hired just recently. They all had worked for TNA. They all came home.
Jeff Jarrett
had a company. He came home.
He screwed Vince on that whole thing with China.
Vince hasn't been wrong about that philosophy. And until a company right now steps away and says, I'm not coming home, I'm going to make it myself, that's when we're going to start to see real awesome wrestling again, or where we're going to start to see real competition. And that's what I'm clamoring for. Not as a pro wrestler, just as a fan of the business. Is that real competition is like, okay, the gloves are off now. Everybody talks about, you need to have the money. You need a billionaire to invest. No, you don't. You need to put on a good show. The money will come if you're putting on a good show with talented wrestlers and putting time into your work. But you have to take that step back and really look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm going to put these gloves on and I'm going to go punch him in the face. Mm-hmm. Now, he going to punch you in the face back and he's going to hurt you, but you're going to survive. And you're going to company's just going to have to take that chance. And that's why I talk about in 2019 a company doing a LGBT storyline. WWE doesn't have to do it. They're Disney. They're just like Disney makes a film. They just tell Pixar to make a sad cartoon for them. It's like that's what WWE does. Is like, okay, what do we have? We'll just pick them. That's where WWE's at now because they're Disney. We just need a company that is going to be willing to take the risks and make it happen. Because I think thinking outside the box and I think that will help the business grow a lot. I could be wrong though.
Well, it's a change. It's a different product. It's something completely different no one's doing. It's either going to go over huge or it's just going to be, nobody's going to pay any attention to it. But I think it has the potential to go over huge because we live in a more progressive society than we used to. I think it's good for business.
Exactly. It's like, I think people are clamoring for some change. I think the groundswell right now is there. As you're seeing what you just said, there were 600 people at this show. There were 600 people at that show. People are wanting something different and they're flocking to these independents because they want something different.
And these independents are doing a good job reacting to their fans quicker than the WWE does. And I think that's why they're being successful.
I think the independents in general, outside the major companies we mentioned earlier, I think they're doing a way better job than the major companies are. I honestly do. I think smaller independents are taking better risks. They're booking the FEs. They're booking more different storylines. They're booking trans athletes. The indies are trying different things because they're themselves are tired of the same old. Yeah. And the problem with the major ones is like, let's be honest, has ROH changed in 20 years? I
think it's kind of just the same stuff, isn't it?
Same stuff. Same stuff. It's just the same stuff over and over and over and over again. And I'm not, the boys that are there, the boys and girls that are there, the women, the men, the women, they're extremely talented. It's not them. It's the situation, like I said, it's the situations you put them in. Mm-hmm. All those people have a chance to be very successful and be mega draws, but you're putting them into situations of rewriting your own stuff over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. Let these guys give you what they want to do. Mm-hmm. Give them some give them some leeway. Let them go off a script a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see what they really can do, because I was talking about this the other day. I'm like, they're supposed to be selling out Madison Square Garden. Can you name a wrestler right now at ROH?
Not that's going to be at that show, unfortunately.
By the way, that show is 2 months out, and you can't name a person. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
Jay Lethal, that's
not a good thing for ROH.
No,
is why at 2 months out, as I'm talking to a wrestling fan, of course I know who's on the card because I work with all these guys, but as a fan, going to the biggest show of your existence, we still have an issue of naming people that are going to be at that show. And that goes to show you why we need change. Impact is partnering with MLW. Why? I don't understand that one. Lest they're becoming the same company.
Yeah.
And they're partnering together at WrestleMania weekend. Evolve is like Progress. They are a WWE brand.
Yes.
And I actually believe that philosophy is a good idea, because you have a lot of people sitting in the Performance Center that aren't benefiting from wrestling in Full Sail or these little shows in Florida. They need to get out there. They need to, like we said, every crowd throughout America is different and every reaction is different. And that's why they're struggling when they get to major television, because the fan base that is at NXT is, skew the programming, if that makes sense. They control the show.
Yeah.
The fans control that show. The wrestler doesn't.
Yeah. They're repeat fans that go to that show all the time, right?
Oh yeah, they're the same. Like, they're the same fans that were at Impact. It was just the Impact fans have now moved to NXT. It's the same fans that have been going for years, and they're great fans because they come to MLW and they're awesome and they rock. Mm. But at the same token, is they specifically have their favorites. Mm. And, whether so it affects the story lines. Like, I saw once where they were just chanting Bay Bay in the middle of a women's match. That's wrong. Don't do that. That's wrong. Like, those poor women are out there busting their ass trying to get an opportunity, and you're chanting for a wrestler that doesn't need that, and it makes other wrestlers get pissed at him. And it's not him doing it. But it's just like, it's just human nature. It's all these little things in wrestling. Wrestling is a very, very unique thing. And I just, right now is like, we're on the cusp of something special. It's just, for me, I'm looking around, and the top companies supposed to be doing the stuff that is special aren't. And the littler companies are trying their hardest to make it happen with no money. Mm. So it's like the people with money aren't taking risks because it's like, don't want to upset anybody. Let's not take any risks. And then the ones that are taking risks can't really afford to take the risks. So yeah. We're in a strange situation right now. And I think it will right itself. I think, we're going to see a couple companies band together like MLW and Impact. I think they'll probably by the next year end up merging together, in one way or another, one shape or form, because it's kind of already happening, because there's a lot of Impact stars that are already on MLW.
Yeah.
Sami Callihan and all that. And, which are both good shows, and it's not that they're not good shows. you know, we're also at that time where there's so many good wrestlers out there. The competition is unreal. So we have a lot of very talented men and women coming up through the ranks, like that you see at your local independent show that you're just waiting to get an opportunity somewhere bigger.
Yeah.
So we're in a good situation when it comes to talent. We're just not in a good situation right now when it comes to people in charge. And the people in charge need to start making decisions that are going to, because honestly, it's not their fault either. They haven't had to make these decisions the past 12 years because wrestling hasn't been hot. Now they have to actually make the hard choices, and you're going to have to take, with those hard choices comes some risk, and you're going to have to be willing to lose your job. That's what it comes down to. Just like in any other business, your job at the head is to run the program, and you now have competition out there, and now and I said that I don't hide about it. Like I said on Twitter, your decisions matter now. So you're going to be held responsible where you weren't held responsible before. So people are going to start to notice when, you know, okay, well, you have this show, but who is I don't understand these people, or I don't understand this concept or this story. So people are going to start holding you accountable to the decisions you make, whereas before they weren't, because wrestling wasn't so hot. But the consequences about this wrestling boom is now people are going to be held responsible for their choices, the people up at top. I think fans are going to start holding the higher ups more responsible, more accountable for what they give the fan back. Does that make sense?
Well, but there's going to be more eyes focused on it. There are going to be people who aren't, air quotes, wrestling fans, new wrestling fans coming in that are going to look at it differently. Like, instead of, it's just a wrestling business, we can just, we don't have to, that's just the way the wrestling business is. There's going to be people that want to see change and people who want to see different stuff, and it's going to be an adventure,
Yeah, it's a fun and exciting time, and I'm hoping that this is where we get new. Like every other sport, coaches and general managers moved around every year. Do they not?
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people. I think and I don't think it's a terrible thing. Now people that were in comfortable positions no longer are going to be in comfortable positions. It's just like independent wrestlers. Now you have to put in the work again. It's not a negative thing. It's just like, hey, now what you're getting paid to do, you're actually going to have to do.
Yeah.
Your decisions matter. If a GM, if GM drafts a few players and those players don't work out, that GM gets let go. Mm-hmm. That's the reality of it, because your job is to make sure you're putting the right people in place to make the right money for the company that fits the company's vision. And that's what the people in power in every part of pro wrestling, that's their job. They're the GM. Mm-hmm. So now you're going to need to make the hard decisions, whether something's right or wrong. You can't be saying, this is what we're going to go with. And you're going to be like, well, this is what you've been going with for 20 years. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work anymore. That's what I'm hoping from Cody, is that he's going to rile people up.
Innovate.
It's like, yeah, you're going to have to make decisions now, guys. Mm-hmm. This is real. This is a reality. So that's why I'm waiting to when he's in the game. And like I said earlier, I'm interested to see what happens when he gets in the game. Mm-hmm. Right now, he's not in the game. He's looking. He's made people know he's getting in the game. Mm-hmm. But once he gets in the game, I think we're going to start to see a lot of things change, especially in corporate structures for a lot of companies. I go see certain companies band together. You're going to see certain people higher ups be either demoted or moved from their positions, because you're going to have to start compete again, and you're going to have to. We're at a level now where not all the talent's going to come to you and do your tryouts.
Yeah,
you're going to have to actively go out and scout, like WWE used to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? You're going to have to be like, okay, this guy is tearing it up here, here, and here, and here. Let's bring him in. You know, rather than like, we're having tryout camp.
Yeah.
That's not going to work anymore.
Yep.
You know, you're going to have to think outside the box when it comes to these situations.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Cool. Man, I really appreciate you coming on today. This has been fascinating. Probably one of the best interviews I've ever had.
Thank you.
This was cool. I really appreciate this. It'll be out in a couple of weeks. I'll let you know when it's coming out, and I look forward to hearing from you again. I look forward to seeing you wrestle more places too.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I know later on this year we are returning to. We're planning on returning to Japan. We just have to agree on certain things, but as of right now, it's looking like we're going to be returning to the Japan sooner rather than later. Mm-hmm. And hopefully me and Odison can get more opportunities in America.
Wonderful.
To show people that you know what we can do. You know, there's opportunities out there where we hope that we are qualified to get them. And hopefully I get to wrestle in Georgia and you get to see get to see us work.
Now,
you know,
where can people find you if they look for you?
Well, you can find me on my Twitter, which I'm very active on. I encourage people to banter with me. My Twitter is Parrow, P as in Paul, ARROW_. I have an Instagram, which is basically just shirtless gym selfies. That's Parrow49. I use the 49 for, I always say this. I have 49 on all my gear for the victims of Pulse, nightclub here in Orlando. Mm-hmm. And I will always wear that no matter where I go. On all my gear. It's my way of taking the victims around the world with me, showing them new things. And you know, anywhere that I'm wrestling, me and Odison always encourage people to come up, take pictures, talk with us. We're not, I am not one of those people that are like, oh, go away. No. I hate that. I hate when wrestlers do that. I think that is the most tackiest thing you can do. You didn't get into the business to tell fans they're jerks. Yeah. I always question that. I'm like, so why are you a wrestler? I'm like, did you not know this was a byproduct? Me and Odison always encourage people to come take pictures, talk to us. Oh, yeah. We love that. Like, even if you hate us, come take a picture.
Yep. My daughter, who hates wrestling, will wear 2 t-shirts to school, and it's her Odinson t-shirt and her Lufisto t-shirt.
And that's, I love the Fista, yeah. But I would wear that shirt too.
Yeah.
And I have that shirt. So I don't have the Odison shirt because we sold it. But I do have the Lufisto shirt. Yeah. I got mine at WrestleMania weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
We encourage people to come and talk to us, and we really appreciate anytime fans or anybody just wants to talk to us. We really do appreciate it. It's, you know, it's one of the best parts about this business is the fans. And we love when fans play with us. We love when fans cheer, they boo, they get excited to see what we do. To me, it's always an honor and always humbling to get to wrestle in front of anybody, because I was never supposed to make it out of wrestling school. So anything I do beyond this point is just extra. You know, so, that's why whether it's 5 fans or 5,000 fans, I want to meet them all. Like, I try to tell people, if you wait for us, we will always wait for you. So that's our rule. Cool. So just so everybody knows, if you're waiting for us, we will sign whatever you want us to sign. We'll take a picture with you. If there's a line and they say they're going to cut it off, we'll meet you outside and we'll sign your autographs. That's who we are. So I never want anybody ever to think that they're never going to have an opportunity to meet us.
That is so
we will always make an opportunity for you guys.
Thank you. I mean, I really appreciate that as a wrestling fan that y'all are willing to do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Listen, the most important thing is the fan. Without any of you, we'd just be just fighting in our underwear in front of nobody. So, yeah. And so, that's the most important part of the show is the fan and the fan experience. And if you can make just one fan have the best memory, then it's totally worth it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you what you do for the business. Look forward to seeing you again. And you have a great evening and enjoy your Super Bowl. Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay. I'll talk to you.
Thank you once again for having me on.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.
No problem.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's the big 2-part interview that we had with Mike Parrow, conducted by Myron. So, guys, we hope you enjoyed it. If we always love feedback. You could always send us feedback to multiple places. Of course, on social media, we're at Tapped Out Pod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can always email us at tappedoutpod@gmail.com. We've got our website, tappedoutpod.com. You can check out as well. But always remember, everybody's favorite home, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. You can catch all of our interviews. Typically, you get those early. You get some behind-the-scenes stuff like our show prep for our weekly show. Some content we only offer on the Patreon as well. But, of course, you can get, you pay a high enough level, you can be a guest on the show. You can get shirts for free, through the memberships and all that good stuff. But again, man, we just wanted to say thanks for, this big 2-part interview. Went really, really in depth, and it went really long, so we figured we'd break it up over 2 weeks for you. But man, we hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to send us any feedback to those sites. But until then, man, make sure you're checking out all of the interviews here, that our buddy Lewis typically handles over, at Tapped Out Lewis on Twitter. He does a lot of great interviews, bringing them in, but we appreciate Myron stepping in and picking this one up for us. And of course, the weekly show that we're dropping now on Thursdays, where we just discuss basically a lot of topics, editorial stuff during the week. Check us out, man. Of course, you can subscribe on Apple, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all the places your podcasts can be found. But till again, man, we're going to step out and, like I said, once again say we appreciate you taking the time to listen. And as always, man, it's time to tap out.